The grocery store security footage was grainy, but clear enough to see my own face staring back at me, except I'd never been to a Whole Foods in Scottsdale, never bought $500 worth of organic groceries, and certainly never used the Amex Platinum card being swiped with my name on it. "This is from last Tuesday," Detective Morrison said, sliding another photo across the table, "and this is from the Nordstrom in Fashion Square, same day, $3,000 in handbags." I stared at the images of myself, not myself, living a life I couldn't afford in a state I hadn't visited in 5 years. "That's not me." "We know," Morrison said gently, "your alibi checked out. You were responding to a domestic violence call in Brooklyn at the exact time these purchases were made. The question is, who knows you well enough to pull this off?" The answer sat like lead in my stomach, but I couldn't say it, not yet. I'd been a detective with the NYPD for 8 years, specializing in financial crimes. The irony wasn't lost on me. I spent my days catching identity thieves while someone was stealing mine with surgical precision. It started small, the way these things always do. A credit card I didn't apply for, a medical bill from a state I'd never lived in, easy enough to dispute, annoying but manageable. Then it escalated: mortgage applications, car loans, business credit lines for companies I'd never heard of. $400,000 in fraud, destroyed credit, ruined life. That became my mantra as I spent every off-duty hour trying to untangle the mess. My credit score plummeted from 800 to 420. I couldn't rent an apartment without a co-signer. The promotion I'd worked toward for 3 years got shelved because financial instability raised questions about judgment. "Maybe it's random," my partner, Detective Janet Chin, suggested during one of our late-night sessions trying to trace the fraud. "You see how sophisticated these rings are getting. But random thieves don't know your mother's real maiden name, the one she used before her first marriage, not the one on public records. They don't know your childhood dog was named Mr. Whiskers but you told everyone his name was Max because you were embarrassed. They don't use security questions with answers only family would know." "It's someone close," I finally admitted. "Someone who knows everything about me." Janet looked at me carefully. "How close?" "My sister Rebecca and I were born identical twins, 34 years ago in Queens. For the first 18 years of our lives, we were inseparable. Same face, same voice, same everything. Then our paths diverged sharply. I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice. She went to Arizona State and never came back. I joined the force. She married young, divorced younger, married again. I saved every penny in cramped apartments. She posted Instagram stories from resorts I couldn't pronounce. We'd grown apart, that passive kind of distance where you still say love you at the end of phone calls but couldn't name each other's best friends. I knew she had twins with her second husband, that they lived somewhere in the Phoenix area, that she'd started some kind of lifestyle blog. She knew I was a cop, single, and married to the job, as she liked to say. The last time I'd seen her in person was at our father's funeral 3 years ago. She'd breezed in wearing designer sunglasses and grief like an accessory, collected her half of his modest life insurance, and flew back to Arizona the same day. "You should visit," she'd said at the airport. "The twins would love to meet their Aunt Samantha properly." Soon, I'd lied, knowing my detective's salary wouldn't stretch to cross-country trips. Now, staring at surveillance footage of my face attached to her body, spending money I didn't have on a life I couldn't afford, I wondered how long she'd been planning this. The investigation officially began when I walked into the Phoenix Police Department with a file 2 inches thick. Professional courtesy got me a meeting with their financial crimes unit, but I could see the skepticism in their eyes. "Identical twin sister? Convenient. We'll need more than your word," Detective Riley said carefully. "Family identity theft is complicated." "I'm a detective," I reminded him. "I know what you need." What they needed was proof Rebecca had been systematically using my identity. What I had was circumstantial evidence and a lifetime of knowing my sister's tells. She was my twin, I knew her like I knew myself, which, ironically, was the problem. The break came from an unexpected source, Facebook. Rebecca had blocked me years ago during some argument about her first divorce, but she hadn't blocked Janet, who'd sent a friend request out of curiosity. My partner became my window into my sister's life, and what we saw made everything click. "Sam," Janet called me over to her desk, laptop open. "Look at this." Rebecca's lifestyle blog, Living My Best Life, was a monument to conspicuous consumption: designer bags, luxury vacations, private school for the twins, a house that looked like it belonged in Architectural Digest. Her husband, Derek, was a mid-level manager at a tech company, good salary, but not this good. Check the timing, Janet said, scrolling through posts. She got that Hermes bag the same week someone opened a Neiman Marcus card in your name. The Hawaii trip? 3 days after the Amex Platinum application. Every major purchase on her blog corresponded with fraudulent activity on my accounts. She wasn't just stealing my identity, she was documenting the crime in real time. Armed with this information, Phoenix PD got warrants, financial records, store surveillance, IP addresses. The digital trail Rebecca left was extensive once they knew where to look. She'd been careful, using VPNs and drop addresses, but not careful enough. She had a system, Detective Riley told me, something like admiration in his voice. Credit cards to P.O. boxes, then closed before statements arrived. Online shopping with in-store pickup using fake IDs, with your face, of course. Even filed tax returns in your name to get refunds. How long? I asked, though I dreaded the answer. Based on the records, 5 years. Started small, probably testing if you'd notice, then escalated. 5 years. While I was testifying in court, she was destroying my credit. While I was working overtime to afford rent, she was financing her lifestyle with my identity. While I was protecting and serving, she was stealing and spending. We need to bring her in, Riley said. You want to be there? Try to stop me. The arrest was scheduled for a Thursday morning. Derek would be at work, the twins at school. Clean, simple, minimal trauma for the kids. That was the plan. Plans, as any cop knows, rarely survive first contact. We were positioned outside Rebecca's house, a sprawling fake Adobe McMansion that screamed new money. When the garage door opened, Rebecca emerged with the twins, hustling them toward her white Range Rover with an urgency that set off every instinct I had. She's running, I said into the radio. She knows we're here. Negative. Maintain position, Riley started, but Rebecca was already backing out. I made a decision that went against protocol but felt right. I stepped out of the unmarked car and into her path. Rebecca slammed on the brakes, her face cycling through shock, fear, and then a bitter resignation. Through the windshield, I saw 2 small faces in the back seat, my nephews I'd never met, 7 years old with their mother's face, my face. Our face. She rolled down the window. Sam, not surprised, just tired. Becca, I kept my voice level, professional. You need to turn off the engine. Mommy, one of the twins leaned forward. Is that lady a police officer? Until her twins saw my badge. Mommy, why is your twin a police officer? The words hung in the air like an accusation. Rebecca's hands tightened on the steering wheel as understanding dawned on her sons' faces. You have a twin? The other boy asked. Like us? The dominoes fell fast. Rebecca's carefully constructed lies, the separate lives she'd maintained, the fictional aunt who lived far away, it all crumbled in the face of 2 7-year-olds seeing double. Aiden, Ethan, everything's fine, Rebecca said, but her voice cracked. This is Aunt Samantha. The police officer aunt? Aiden asked. But you said she couldn't visit because she was too busy arresting bad guys. You said she didn't like kids, Ethan added, studying me with eyes that matched mine exactly. But she looks nice. She looks like you, Mommy. Detective Riley approached carefully, hand resting on his service weapon but not drawn. Mrs. Chen, we need you to step out of the vehicle. I can't, Rebecca whispered, and for a moment I saw my sister, really saw her, for the first time in years. Designer clothes couldn't hide the desperation, the knowledge that her house of cards was collapsing. The twins, I can't. I'll take care of them, I heard myself say. Riley shot me a look, but I continued. They don't need to see this. Let me take them inside. You? Rebecca laughed bitterly. You don't know anything about kids. You don't know anything about my life, about what I've had to do. What you've had to do. The anger I'd been suppressing for months bubbled up. You mean destroy my credit? Steal my identity? Commit federal crimes? I was surviving. You were shopping at Nordstrom with my name. Mommy? Ethan's voice was small. Why are you yelling? That stopped us both. These boys, my nephews, didn't deserve this. Whatever Rebecca had done, they were innocent. Riley, give us a minute, I said, please. He hesitated, then nodded. 2 minutes. I walked to the passenger side, opened the door, and looked at my sister. Tell me why. Not the bullshit you're going to tell the lawyers. Tell me why you did this to me. Rebecca's perfectly applied makeup was running now, black rivulets of mascara marking trails down her cheeks. You wouldn't understand. Try me. Derek lost his job. 2 years into the fraud. He lost his job and didn't tell me for 6 months. He pretended to go to work every day while draining our savings. She laughed hollowly. The lifestyle blogger married to a fraud. Ironic, right? So you became one too? I had the blog, Sam, sponsors, readers who expected a certain life, the twins' school, the house, everything. I couldn't lose it all. I couldn't be the failure. So you made me one instead? You had a steady job, benefits, a pension. Her voice rose. You didn't need perfect credit to be a cop. You didn't have 2 kids depending on you to maintain their life. I needed credit to live, Becca, to rent apartments, to exist in the world. You destroyed my life because you couldn't admit yours was a lie? At least you had a life that was yours. She was screaming now, years of resentment pouring out. You got to choose your path. I got pregnant at 22, married because I had to, divorced, married again, had twins. When did I get to choose? When was it my turn? So you chose to steal from me? I chose to survive, and I'm good at it. Do you know how hard it is to maintain this fiction? To be perfect all the time? To have everyone watching, judging, expecting? She gestured at her house, her car, herself. This isn't a life, it's a performance. And I used your identity as an understudy. That's not. I know it's not right. She deflated. I know, but once I started, I couldn't stop. The bills kept coming, the blog kept growing. And you never noticed. For 3 years, you never noticed. I noticed, Becca. I just never imagined my own sister. Detective, Riley interrupted. We need to do this. Rebecca looked at her sons in the back seat, then at me. They don't know anything. Please, Sam, whatever happens to me, please don't let them. They're my nephews, I said quietly. I'll make sure they're okay. The arrest was textbook. Rebecca didn't resist, didn't make a scene. She kissed her boys, told them to be good for Aunt Samantha, and let Riley cuff her with as much dignity as she could muster. I took the twins inside, past the designer furniture and into a playroom that cost more than my annual salary. They sat on a leather couch, identical faces wearing identical expressions of confusion. Is Mommy in trouble? Aiden asked. Because of the police lady who looks like her? Ethan added. I sat between them, these miniature versions of us, and tried to find words. Your mom made some mistakes, but she loves you, and that's what matters. What kind of mistakes? How do you explain identity theft to 7-year-olds? How do you tell them their mother financed their life with their aunt's stolen identity? Grown-up mistakes, I said finally, but I'm here now, and I'm going to help. Are you really a police officer? Aiden asked. I showed them my badge, Detective Samantha Torres, NYPD. Cool, Ethan grabbed it. Do you arrest bad guys? Sometimes. Did you arrest Mommy? My throat tightened. No, other police officers did that. I'm just here to take care of you. They exchanged one of those twin looks I remembered from my own childhood, entire conversations in a glance. Mommy cries sometimes, Aiden said quietly. At night, she thinks we don't know. She tells us we're lucky, Ethan added, but she doesn't look happy. Derek arrived 2 hours later, his face a mask of panic and confusion. Where's Rebecca? Where are my boys? Mr. Chen? I stood in his foyer, my sister's foyer, feeling like an imposter in my own skin. I'm Detective Torres. Your sons are upstairs playing. He stared at me, processing. Sam, Rebecca's sister? Yes. She said you were, that you didn't. He stopped, reconsidering whatever lie Rebecca had told him about me. What's going on? I explained as clinically as I could. 5 years of fraud, $400,000, federal charges. His face went from red to white to gray as the implications hit. I didn't know, he said finally. I swear, I didn't know. You didn't wonder how she afforded everything after you lost your job? He collapsed onto a designer chair that probably cost more than my car. I got a new job 8 months ago, lower pay, but I thought. Rebecca said the blog was doing well. Sponsorships, affiliate links, she handled the finances. I didn't question it. Looking at him, this broken man in his mid-level manager polo shirt, surrounded by the proceeds of crime, I believed him. Rebecca had lied to everyone, creating different fictions for different audiences. What happens now? He asked. She'll be arraigned tomorrow, bail hearing after that. Given the amount and interstate nature, she's looking at federal charges, prison time. The boys need their father, and maybe an aunt who isn't fictional. Rebecca was released on bail, restricted to house arrest with an ankle monitor. The blog disappeared overnight, sponsors fleeing the scandal. The house went on the market to pay for lawyers. The Range Rover was repossessed. I stayed in Phoenix for the arraignment, watching my sister plead not guilty to charges we both knew she'd committed. Her lawyer was good, the kind you could afford when you'd stolen $400,000, but the evidence was overwhelming. She'll take a plea, the federal prosecutor told me, 3 to 5 years, probably, maybe less with good behavior. 3 to 5 years, my twin, my other half, behind bars because she'd chosen my identity as her escape route. The night before I flew back to New York, Rebecca asked to see me. We sat in her emptying house, the furniture already tagged for auction, and tried to find words. "I'm sorry," she said. "I know it doesn't mean anything, but I'm sorry." "Why me, Becca? Of all the identities you could have stolen." "Because I knew you," she said simply, "every password, every security question, every detail, and because part of me wanted your life, the simplicity of it, just you, your job, your purpose." She laughed bitterly. "Turns out I couldn't even steal that right. My life wasn't simple, you made sure of that." "I know, I'm sorry, I'll pay you back." "With what?" I gestured at the empty spaces where furniture had been. "You spent it all on this performance." "The boys will be fine. Derek's sister is moving in to help, they'll adjust." "And us?" She looked at me with eyes identical to mine, seeing the gulf between us that no shared DNA could bridge. "What happens to us?" I thought about the 8-year-old girls we'd been, dressed identically, finishing each other's sentences. Then I thought about the detective I'd become and the criminal she'd chosen to be. "I don't know," I admitted. "I'll testify truthfully." After that, I shrugged. "Maybe we'll figure it out, maybe we won't." "I love you," she said quietly. "I know you don't believe that, but I do. You don't destroy someone you hate, you destroy someone whose life you want." I flew back to New York the next morning, leaving my sister to face the consequences of wanting my life so badly she'd tried to steal it. The fraud unit helped me untangle the financial mess, though my credit would take years to fully recover. The promotion I'd lost went to someone else, but there would be others. 6 months later, Rebecca took a plea deal, 30 months in federal prison, 3 years probation, full restitution, which everyone knew she couldn't pay. The twins visited her every week, Derek driving them in his 10-year-old Honda, all of them adjusting to a reality without Instagram filters. I visited once, flying back to Arizona on my own dime. We sat across from each other in the visiting room, wearing different uniforms now, hers orange, mine blue. "The boys ask about you," she said, "their detective aunt. Aiden wants to be a cop now. Maybe he'll be better at it than his mother was at being a criminal." She laughed, real laughter, not the performative kind from her blog days. "I was terrible at it, got caught by my own twin." "You got caught because you documented everything online. Criminal 101, don't post evidence." "See? I needed my detective sister's advice before turning to crime." We could joke because what else was there? She'd serve her time, rebuild some kind of life. I'd repair my credit, continue my career. The twins would grow up knowing their aunt the cop and their mother the cautionary tale. As I left the prison, I thought about identity, how we build it, how we protect it, how easily it can be stolen by someone who knows us best. Rebecca had taken my name, my credit, my financial future, but she couldn't steal the thing that mattered most, the person I'd chosen to become. $400,000 in fraud, destroyed credit, ruined life, all true, but I was still Detective Samantha Torres, NYPD, still the twin who'd chosen law over lawlessness. And sometimes, that's identity enough.